Hi, and this is Professor Halsey, and here we're going to look at how to complete the labs. Now up here at the top is a link to the lab. We're going to come down first and look at the Lab Overview tab. On the Lab Overview tab, you'll pretty much see the instructions that we're going to use for the lab. They're telling you how to complete your report template. Okay, so we'll come back up to the top of modules where we find the link to the lab and click on that and open that window. That gives us another link that's going to take us into our virtual lab. Now it takes a few minutes for these computers to turn on, and the one that we want to turn on we have to specifically turn on, so click on the one down here at the bottom that says PLAB CSCO, pretty sure that's short for Cisco, 01, and then you'll scroll down a little bit and power on. Once it turns green, then it's ready. Okay, once this computer turns green, we're ready to go, so we don't need to wait any longer. And in the instructions, if your window looks more like mine than theirs, you'll come here to get a copy of the instructions and the template. And I usually pull it to one side, and then I'm going to come here and click on my computer, not on any of this, but up here on the name. If yours isn't popping up, it's an option in the settings. You can scroll down and make device pop-ups, and then they pop up in this window instead of being over here. Now you'll notice these are all different computers that are available to us to use in the lab environment. Right now we're just only using this one. Okay, so you want to make sure that your computer has, or your screen has, that name at the top of it. And then I'm going to put him over here and him over here, and then I like to give him a little bit more room so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's look through the instructions, just read through the introduction. Again, these are the different setups that we have access to in this lab. We're not using them today, in the future maybe. Now here's where we're going to start task 1, using Windows application as network tools. Okay, so step 1 of that is from the Windows desktop, click Start. And they're pretty good. If you are lost, usually they have lots of pictures here and explanations. You have different options in the settings. You can use the Java client or HTML5 client. It just changes the appearance slightly. And notice I can't see my start down there, so I'm going to do Control minus. And once I do that, this window gets small enough, and I have to be on this window when I do that, and then I'll be able to see my start. Okay. Okay, if yours is looking like the instructions, that's fine. If it's looking more like mine, that's okay too. Just follow along with whichever one of us it most resembles. All right, so right now I'm going to hit my down arrow here, and then I'm going to come up in this search bar and type CMD. That's going to give me the option for the command prompt. So I'll double click that and open up the command prompt. Now I'm down to step 3. Okay, next we want to do an IP config, and what that does is it shows me all the devices that are connected to the internet on this virtual computer that we're using. Okay, so we can scroll in this window, and if you come back up, we'll see here's our Ethernet adapter for lab NIC. Do not change this one. This is some other one, but this is the one that we're looking at in the lab example. Okay, so in our lab report, they want a copy of this, and if you want to see more on the screenshot, you can stretch out the window. And then to do your screenshot, you hold down function and find print screen, which is usually under or on the insert button. And now once I do that, I'll come and put that in my lab report template. If you're not sure where to get that from, that came from files. So you'll come into files, iLab documents, and you should see the lab1 report template. And so once I've taken my screenshot, then I do a Control V and it pastes it here in the window. Okay, so it's looking for an answer here. You can usually find your answers in the actual lab document that we're following with our instructions. Which Okay, so they'll give you a result and an explanation, and in part of that explanation you should find your answer. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is come back to make sure I'm on my PLab Cisco 1. I'm going to close out this window, and it tells me to go start run. I've not been able to figure out how they want me to do that, but I do know I can do this and go to the next screen and type in run. Whoops. And that brings me to the run prompt here. And I can type in the ncpa.cpl, hit enter, and you see lab NIC and do not change. Okay, ping is the next one we get, which is what we're coming up to. So hold on with our next screenshot. We're going to right click on NIC and go to properties. and then come down to TCP v4 and click Properties. And you'll notice the IP address, the subnet mask, and the default gateway that we had from our ipconfig command. Okay, do not make any changes here. So next we're going to go, and I'm going to launch my command prompt just by double clicking up here. That gets me to the same place, and then I want to do a ping 192.168.16.1 and hit enter. You notice 4 sent, I got 4 received, no lost. And I'm going to do another print screen here and come paste that here under showing a successful ping. That will go here. Okay, so then you read the explanation, put an answer here. And we keep going till we get to ipconfig/all. Okay, so it says we can close that after we read the explanation. Pings are used to test connectivity. We use them a lot in networking to verify connection within a network. Okay, so we're going to next console into NY-Edge2 and enter the enable command. Right, that's not on this computer, so I'm going to minimize this one and come back to it in a little bit. NY-Edge2 is the second one down from the top back in the main window. I don't know why it won't pop out for me. I've not been able to get it to. Alright, so I'm going to make sure I'm on NY-Edge2 and hit enter. Notice it comes up, this is the user mode. We want to enter the privileged exec mode, so we type enable. The hashtag denotes that we are in privileged exec mode. Next, we type configure terminal. And that's how we get in to make changes in the switch or router. Conft is a shortcut that you can use, but I don't know if it works here or not. Then we want to go into the serial 0/0/0/0 interface, int space S0/0/0. You now see it says IF, that means I'm in the interface. And I'm ready to configure. Okay, we're going to tell that interface to not shut down or issue a no shut command. And this actually tells that output to come up and start running. Okay, now we're going to go do the exact same thing on NY Edge 1. How do I keep leaving that same 0 off? There we go. Oh no, I put too many on one time. Okay, if you hit the up arrow, it brings up the last thing you typed and you can edit and hit enter and go from there. And I wonder if mine's acting weird because I didn't tell it interface, because it should actually tell me it's coming up. Yours may come up with a message that the interface is up. I think I had already done this, so it's not showing that mine was down. In fact, I can do mine again. And you see when I issue it the next time, now I get the line protocol. Tells me change state interface serial 00. Okay, that shut it down. I'm going to do the no shut now that you were doing, and it should tell me change state to up. Okay, now we're back on NY Edge 2 up here. And it wants me to come out of the privilege exec mode. So I'm going to type end. Make sure you watch your time here. It will auto log you out in this time. All you have to do is click it to refresh it. You have unlimited time to get it done. You just have to remember to keep clicking that button. Okay, now over here on NY Edge 2, they want us to do a debug TCP packet. Whoops. It's a debug IP TCP packet. And then we debug IP TCP transactions. And you have explanation there. And now they want us to connect to 10.7.0.2. So we're connecting to Edge 1 from Edge 2. So on Edge 1, we will now enter telnet 10.7.0.2. And we get all the information about how it's connecting and them kind of shaking hands and getting acquainted. They're telling you a little bit about that here in this section. It's actually a conversation going on between the two different computers. Okay, once it's done and we've looked at it, then we want to undebug space all. And you see it turns off. Okay, so now we're back on the PC. and they want me to go to the command prompt. And enter the IP config space /all. And I'm going to expand that so I can see more of the information. You can scroll up using the scroll bar and get as much of it as you can. And then we'll take a screenshot of that one. And I'll come paste it here. You notice additional information. It tells you to make note of your DNS server, and you're looking for lab1a. Okay, and now we're going to ping our DNS server address. But since there's not one listed, I'm going to ping my default gateway again, 192.168.16.1. We should get successful replies from that. And no, not yet. Now, since I don't have that DNS server address, I'm going to skip down to here and I'm going to trace the route /d 4.2.2.1. Okay, it does take a while. And you can do Control-C to break out of that. And this time we don't want to use the /d parameter. Just trace route, trace RT 4.2.2.1. Okay, and I'm really not sure exactly. It's going through the different hops that it takes to get from one point to another, but we're not exactly seeing here the different destinations that we should see in between, or the different devices that we should see in between. So not, I know I've got it set up right. I'm not sure if it's just the lab setup that's not giving us what we're looking for. So I'm going to hit Control-C here to get out of it. And what we should be seeing here is different addresses. It's going to, we'll do it more in the future, so you'll see it quite a bit, but we'll see the different addresses of the devices here and how long it takes to get to them. Okay, so make this last screenshot. that one will go here. All right, answer those questions or that question. And that's the end of that part. And we're going to save our document, come back here for lab 1b.